Welcome to the School of Love, the place where miracles are normal. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the School of Love, the place where we learn practical tools based on scientific research and our own experience towards improving ourselves, living life to its fullest, and contributing to the best of our abilities to the world around us. I am Dr. Grajdian, and I am a professor of media studies and anthropology at Hiroshima University. In my free time, I am doing my best to guide you in building up a life of contentment, joy, and fulfillment while applying lessons learned in school to overcome the difficulties, challenges, and insecurities of the real world. In today's video, I explain the process of being or becoming a good enough sister at a deep level and beyond the classical statements which focus on immediate superficial results. By saying good enough, I do not refer to mediocrity, but to a mindset which allows for attaining what is possible so that excellence can be pursued subsequently. In this video, I start with a definition of what it means to be good enough as an active process of learning and becoming, and with some signs to identify whether you practice the pursuit of good enough as a prerequisite for striving for excellence or not. Then I'll describe 10 guidelines on starting to practice deep, active, good enough sisterhood with kindness and compassion. But now, first things first, that is 2 important disclaimers. The first disclaimer serves to strongly emphasize the fact that this YouTube channel, The School of Love, is not part of my educational and research activities at Hiroshima University. It is nonetheless part of my privilege, joy, and sense of duty to propagate and implement knowledge, information, as well as motivation and inspiration outside the limited framework of academic endeavors. Together, we can build up a better tomorrow for as many of us as possible. The second disclaimer relates to the fact that I am a trained musician and musicologist, not a psychologist, therapist, or counselor. The ideas I am sharing in my videos reflect my deep-going preoccupation with life, my own life and the life of other people, and express the results of my experiences, research, and, for better or for worse, my failures, as well as my recovery from those failures, recovery which is still ongoing. The ideas expressed in the videos on this channel named The School of Love cannot and may not and must not replace the consultation with specialists in whichever areas of your life you might have questions or you might struggle with. If you are new to the channel, at this moment I would like to ask you to please consider subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. Thank you very, very much. This helps us not only with that mysterious algorithm, which seems to dominate the YouTube galaxy, but also with contributing to the expansion of the community of humans doing their best to impact positively the world and those around them by discovering their authentic selves and living life wholeheartedly. Thanks again. And now back to today's topic, which is how to be a good enough sister. So first of all, I have to explain what I mean by good enough. So good enough is not about being mediocre. I'm not promoting mediocrity. I'm promoting a healthy approach to doing what's possible and what's necessary so that subsequently, afterwards, we can pursue excellence. So doing our best in a specific area. But so while many people say you have to be your best, you have to do your best, excellence is the highest ideal we have to all to pursue, and this is all good. The problem is, in order to be excellent, once we actually have to attain first our potential, to see what we can do, to see what is possible for us. And this is exactly what I'm trying to do in this series, to promote a sense of healthy good enoughness, so that once we have attained this sort of what we can do, we can expand it towards being better. So it's not about mediocrity. It's about finding our own normality and limitations so that we can then expand those limitations. Now, about being a good enough sister, I think I have somewhere another video on how to be a good enough sister and daughter, and I thought recently that actually I should be more specific, because being a sister and being a daughter are two different parameters of our life, and I'm talking here really from the perspective of daughter and sister, also in relation to what I've been observing with my daughter, who is the sister to her brother, but also from my own experience. And there are two different parameters of being a family member. So, and in order to develop this uh, ability to be a good enough sister, the first element is to understand what I call the tri-dimensional structure of human identity, of human identity, and then being a female human. Yeah. So this three-dimensional structure refers to this, to being a mother, so being someone who produces the next generation, then being a woman who is self-aware of her own sexuality, and then being a sister or a daughter, so relating to other family members, as well as being a citizen. Yeah, so being someone who's not necessarily concerned with the next generation, and someone who's not necessarily concerned to one's own partner, but actually in the greater scheme of things as being an active member of the society. And this relates also, of course, to our ability to work productively. And so once you have, you must understand that your identity as a human being has various layers, and once you understand that these various layers, actually they do not exist separately, they intertwine with each other, right? And you have to divide this three-dimensional structure into priorities, which is important, because usually we talk about, it has to be some sort of balance, like 1/3 being a family member, 1/3 being or a social member of the society, 1/3 being a partner if you have a partner, or if you want a partner, so being a sexual being, and 1/3 being a mother, so taking care of the next generation. By the way, this can be also applied to men, of course, but I'm talking about women here. And and what's important, so we need a balance in order to have a sustainable, healthy life. We need a balance between these parameters, but of course there are phases in life when these parameters are rather when one parameter takes over, at least, and it should always be for a while. For instance, when we give birth to a new baby, the baby is the priority, so the mother dimension takes priority for, let's say, 1.5 years to 2 years. When we're at university, and afterwards we graduate and we're looking for a job, the citizen dimension, the being a member of a functional, more or less functional member of the society, is what takes priority. Or when we are freshly in love, our sexual and romantic dimension takes priority. But and this always should be temporarily, so that we have a balanced identity, a balanced sense of self. If one dimension takes the forefront for too long, then we have the other two automatically will be less prevailing, and in over years, this will lead to a distorted sense of self. This is why, for instance, I'm so much against this concept of stay-at-home housewife or stay-at-home mother, because if this is only you focus on, and you do this over years, what happens when your children grow up? Yeah, what happens when your children don't need you anymore, and when they're 15, 20, and they will have to let them go, because what you're going to put pressure on them to either stay your children, so not develop their own sense of self, or put pressure on them to produce babies so that you have grandchildren. This is just extremely selfish. So this is why it's important to be aware of this tridimensionality of human identity, or your identity as a woman, and then to be aware that there are priorities. Yeah. So the third step, once you have set these priorities, which are very individual depending on one's life, you have to learn to set and enforce boundaries. These are fundamental. Yeah. So that you not only are aware of your own identity, but you also have a chance to live according to your own identity. And the next step, because once you have these boundaries, and you also show the consequences, and that you are willing to impose consequences once the boundaries are violated or not respected, you will learn to love in a healthy manner the members of your family, both immediate and extended. And so there are three dimensions which are found important for healthy love at the family level. Well, the first one is clear communication, the second one is quality time, and the third one is listen non-judgmentally, but not in this order. This is just probably it's just some random order. All of them, they're equally important. So the first one, clear communication, is you need this for your boundaries. You need it for your boundaries, but you also need to be honest about your emotions and the fact that actually you do care about them, even if you also happen to have other priorities in your life. So clear communication is very, very important. The second one is quality time. There are many people nowadays who think family should be the highest priority, and we should spend most of our time or free time with family. I don't think so. I think it is the older we get, the more people we know, hopefully, the more we want to diversify our experiences. And what's important is to spend quality time with your family, with those you care about. Of course, you love them. Like in my experience, even if we come from a dysfunctional family, we still love them because it's our biology which wires up us for loving our immediate family. But together with clear communication, spending quality time with them will allow you to not develop resentment, because they want you to be there all the time, but actually they're either playing computer or cooking or cleaning or doing all sorts of stuff, and they essentially do not spend time with you. You are there because, and they feel important by you being there, but they are doing their own stuff. But spending quality time with them, and not only at celebrations or Christmas or New Year or Easter, but spending quality time with them just because. Invite them to a coffee shop, go together for a walk, do something where they are, so each member, or however you want to address this, the center of your time. This is the definition of quality time. The third one is listening non-judgmentally. In families, we tend to know the others very well. We tend to know their weaknesses and their triggers, and also their good points and the qualities. And very often we just don't listen. We listen only in order to give them some sort of advice, or to give them some sort of feedback, or to show them that we have the upper hand. So there is always an agenda when we communicate, or we talk, or we sit and listen to what they say, hear what they say. But listening non-judgmentally, listening non-judgmentally is something which we should actually do more often, and more with a more open mind, because this is what creates the connection, the authentic connection. After being part of the family is not an obligation anymore. So until the age of 18 or 16 or 18, depending. So there is this obligation. We have to be there for our families. But afterwards, it becomes an obligation, meaning we feel like we have to. And in my opinion, a good enough sister knows to transcend this obligation into something she does for the sake of doing it, and not as an obligation. Something, and listening to them, listening not judgmentally, in combination with clear communication on your side, and with quality time spent together. I think these are the triad of how to develop a good sisterhood even after you have grown up. Now, more important or equally important are the finances. So as soon as you become legally an adult, take full responsibility for your finances and strive to become financially dependent as soon as possible. I would say this is fundamental if you want to have a healthy, sustainable, long-term relationship to your family of origin. After you have grown up, after you have become an adult, you can help them financially, emotionally. You can support them, but be sure you do not get exploited, and you do not get dragged into their drama, into their problems, because there will be this kind of issues. So it is one thing to to love them, to be there for them, to help them out occasionally, to support them in all the manners you can. And it's a different thing to be exploited. You don't, because once you start feeling exploited, you'll start to develop resentment. And this is number 10. If you start to feel resentment, back off. Resentment leads to contempt automatically after a while. And resentment is, this is not my finding. This is the worst horseman of the apocalypse in interhuman relationships, because contempt is the opposite of respect, and respect is fundamental for any healthy interhuman interactions. So in order to avoid this, go back to number 3, which is learn and enforce boundaries, as well as 4 with its 3 elements of healthy communication or healthy interaction: clear communication, quality time, and listening non-judgmentally. And make sure you set those boundaries and enforce consistent consequences in case your boundaries are violated. So do not allow for resentment to build, because it will explode. It turns into contempt, which is the opposite of respect, and you will hate them, you will hate yourself, you will hate everybody. So do not allow for resentment to build up. Now I have a bonus, because I couldn't, while writing the script, I realized I have this bonus, and I couldn't put it inside the 10 guidelines. Is strive for reciprocity in all interhuman interactions, both private and professional. I wish someone had told this to me earlier. So you can love and do your best for others, but if there is no reciprocity, this is toxic. So giving without receiving anything in return is toxic. It might be promoted as altruism by some gurus and media and so on. It is not. Strive for reciprocity in all interhuman interactions, both private and professional, and you will have a balanced life. This doesn't have to be, so this reciprocity, it doesn't have to come from the very beginning, but it has to come early enough so that you do not build up resentment. So I hope this helps. This kind of ideas have helped me tremendously in recent years in order to build healthier relationship, both with my family of origin and with my work environment, with my colleagues. I hope it helps you too, and I hope you find some useful ideas in my statements. Thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to welcoming you again very soon. Love and peace to you all.